What's going on, guys? So we watched the franchise. We just watched the last couple of episodes, and we're also going to talk about episode 4 because we had a lot of things going on. And so let's see what everybody thought right after this. All right, guys. So we just got through watching 5 and 6, if I'm not mistaken, and episode 4 was the one that we really couldn't get into because people was traveling and everything else. So let's talk about it, guys. What did y'all now? On episode 4, I was on a trip, didn't get a lot of stuff in there, so I'm gonna let you two like talk about episode 4 just a little bit before we jump into 5 and 6. So go ahead. We'll start with you, Adelia.
Episode 4 was strange. We had a cameo in this series from Nick Kroll playing a superhero from the Centurios called the Gurgler, and it was just strange. I mean, I don't really know what other way to put it. I still thoroughly enjoy this show, but these last 3 episodes, I've just kind of been like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, I've been
Like,
no, I've been the same thing. Sitting here, we're like, the gurgler. Nick Kroll played the gurgler, and the sound he made, I just cringe. It's one of those nails on chalkboard
awful.
things for me. Oh my god, and I hated the sound. But his character was in the buddy comedy. What was it called, Adelia? Something butter.
Brad and Butter.
Brad and Butter with with Adam. They played brothers, but I guess he had a crush on Adam. At the end, we see he does all this stuff to him and makes fun of him and stuff, but he really said he's in love with him. He's been in love with them. So I was like, oh, plot twist.
Episode 4, we also see the Centurio set for the first time, and it's described as a Saudi car dealership, which that was pretty funny. We have in the Tecto movie that we've been following in the series, they introduce a reality crystal which gets stolen by the Gurgler and taken back to the Centurio set and then seen by the Centurio's director, who decides he wants it in his movie, except bigger than the one that was going to be in Eric's movie. And so Eric loses his mind over this, basically, and they make him make a new crystal because his movie is being released technically after Centurios. So the Centurios has got the reality crystal first, and the art department stays up all night. The Centurios set used up all the metallic paint in Europe, so the crystal for Eric's movie is just black. And Eric is not happy, so he gets in his golf cart and he goes over to the Centurio set and he rams
it.
their set.
He rams right into it.
And Pat, the producer guy, not happy about the fact that Eric is kamikazeing the other set and kind of screws over Tecto, pulls the cameo, and no Gurgler in the Tecto movie.
Thank God.
Thank God. I'm so glad that we do not have to deal with that character again. Hopefully, he's not in the last 2 episodes because it was very annoying.
And I think this was the episode where the guy that's like the background actor, the poor guy gets so much things that they want to shave his head, and he was like, well, I'm going to be getting married, and so they take pity on him and you know, going to shave his head before he get married, and then by the end of the episode, it's like, shave his head. I'm like, oh, poor guy. He gets all the crap.
Yeah. So that's episode 4. It was weird. And the Gurgler hopefully never returns.
True, all that. I think I woke up at one time next to like Brandi and saw the golf cart incident into the crystal.
Yeah.
That's the one part that I actually like woke up for a second because I was so tired and like actually saw that part. So we just got through watching episode 5 and 6, and y'all just got through. Y'all just got through talking about episode 4, kind of talking about that, and I'll just start off on this. I actually think that this show could have had a little bit of a better deal if it would have been not a pure comedy, if it would have been more like a drama, and then they added some comedy aspects to it, you know, here and there. like to make you laugh in between like the drama. So like being more serious about it, don't have the goofy music behind it. Because I'm sorry, like this works if you laugh. And I'm pretty sure there are some people out there that watch the show that find it entertaining and laugh.
We laugh some.
Right. Y'all laughed a couple of times, but like it's just not like there was a couple of things that happened that like I smiled at. But to me, the funniest stuff that happens, and like the first couple of episodes, I was like more and more down for it because I was like, oh yeah, man, like I thought some things were like funny. It looked like they were setting up something kind of cool. But since the first two episodes, like to me, it just hasn't been really hitting. And it's kind of sad that the funniest stuff to me most of the time is what happens at the end of the show. It's not even during the show. It's like the impromptu little things they give, like the different actors and stuff, like when the credits are rolling. Those are usually like more funny to me than most of the things that are happening actually in the show. And that's not a good thing. That shouldn't be happening. Like, yeah, those things can still be funny, but they should be supportive of the funny stuff that happened in the show. And I'm just not finding a lot of it like funny. And there's moments in here, like especially these last two episodes we just watched.
Confused.
It was more sad. Like it's supposed to be a comedy, and there were more things that was like sad. Like so the whole like vibrator thing, like that we have one character have in one of these episodes. Like I didn't find it funny because like he's this older guy, he's trying to like be a good guy and like you said, like try to keep his wife interested. I don't find that funny. I find that kind of sad, you know what I'm saying? Because he's trying to like he's trying to do whatever he can, and they try to throw a funny part in there, but it's literally like sad. Like
that was episode 6. We watched.
Well, we're talking both of them together because we watched them both together. But I mean, that's just an example of like I just found both of these episodes had more sad moments where you were kind of like, oh God, like what's happening here? And it not really ringing as funny.
Yeah, like we found out Daniel's got a kid staying with his mom, and the kid's calling him, going, "When am I going to get to see you?" Like that's sad.
Yeah,
I guess
all of them.
It's kind of like I guess they're showing some sort of satire of what can happen when you're filming, like the some of the things that are kind of true. You do miss your family, like the crew being like they're doing this Friday, which is a Friday-Saturday shoot, and some of them want to get done so they can leave and not be there stuck all day. You know, like they want to get it and go so they could spend time doing the things that they want to do on their supposed times off and stuff. So I know I've seen stuff like I've seen a shoot before, so I know how people just want to get it done and over and in the gate and be out of there.
Yeah, but that's also kind of a sad thing. Like it's like I said, like this is supposed to be
it's
like
true. It's true to life, it's true of that's what kind of happens. So it's kind of like an exaggerated way of things, I guess, on a set.
Yeah.
Like the things that can happen, and I mean some of it's weirdness in the way. But I mean, I'm sure there's weird shit that happens sometimes.
Oh yeah, but like with me, that stuff you have to do it if you're going to exaggerate stuff. You have to do it to a point to somehow make it funny, and sometimes that's tricky. So like when I'm watching a comedy like this or even a movie, I don't judge it on I have to laugh the whole time, but I do judge it on am I smiling, at least giggling or laughing, at least 50% of the time. And then I say, oh yeah, I enjoyed this. This is a great movie. Because like even the best comedies I've ever watched, like movies wise or even shows, I'm not laughing the whole time. There's like jokes or something like that will like not be as funny, that kind of thing, like during the movie. But you really have to judge it on, bro, most of the movie or at least half the movie, I was smiling, I was enjoying myself, I was laughing at jokes. And I'm sorry, but on this particular show, it's like at a 10% me maybe smiling. 90% of it's me like kind of like you guys, like what the hell's going on here? It's not really funny. It's kind of like, and in some ways it's not even like goofy enough for me to like I said, I just think it would have worked better if it would have been like more of a drama of them showing what really happens during like making a movie. But then, like I said, have some goofy moments, right? Like in the show and stuff like that. And it kind of like, just like the stuff they did with like China, like the whole China arc in this whole like that one episode, for instance, is like
episode 4.
5.
No, episode 5.
Sorry.
Yeah. So episode 5, we had the China thing, and that stuff's that wasn't funny. Like it was just like he goes off and says something stupid because he's mad about having to put a damn tractor in his movie, and it's
Product
like
placement.
Yeah, product placement stuff, and it's like, bro, what the hell? Like that wasn't even funny because you know what? We have issues with China, right? Like. I mean, you could still do that and it'd be funny. It's just what they chose to do. It just wasn't funny to me. It was just like, okay, well, I don't know what we're doing here, but
yeah,
because
I was gonna say it's like they're lending the thought of like, oh, there's gonna be a tractor in this hospital scene. That's absurd. Everybody's gonna find it funny, and it's just not. Like it's a scene in the movie where someone's dying. And all of a sudden they have to break to say a line about this Chinese tractor that's outside the window. Like it's so dumb. And I understand that stuff like this probably happens in a lot of movies because there's a lot of product placement and some of it is for China. But this wasn't funny. And like the rest of that episode, like the other stuff that was going on in that episode, not funny. Like episode 5 is my least favorite episode of the series so far.
Yeah, they had the they did that because they knew the scene was getting cut, so they just put the product placement in that because the scene was getting cut anyway. So they're just like, "Yep, there we go, we're happy, we get it," because there was no way they could have a tractor in space. Like, where are they putting it? So they just had it rolling in the back of the hospital scene that was already getting cut to begin with. So that way
to me, like,
but they put it in that scene because then that made sure that the scene wouldn't get cut.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what Daniel said. If we put the tractor, Daniel said if you want this, the studio wants to cut the hospital scene, but if you put the tractor in the hospital scene, they can't cut it.
Right.
That's what Daniel said.
But see, like you could have, like, I'm not no comedic genius or anything, but I feel like even in that scene, like if you would have put some like rolled the tractor out there, but instead of it just being the tractor by itself, like you would have like tried to like soup it up so it looks spacey or something, right? Like. You can still tell it's the tractor, but maybe you add some things to it. Maybe there's some weird crap happening in the background and the tractor does like you can try to make that part funny, but it's literally they just rolled it out and basically cut like a commercial line for it. And everything. And like you could have even have made that line more funny where he says the things like he's saying. And I was waiting for him when he gets through saying like plowing the fields like a tractor. But then he like tries to relate it back to like the lady that's dying in the bed, right? You could have been like she did throughout life or something. Like I'm expecting a line like that to come at the end, like where he's trying to, but he doesn't even do that. So I'm kind of like, okay, like
So. There's also the bit at the end. There's also the bit at the end with the milk, the Chinese milk that had mercury in it, and they want to convince everyone that it's safe to drink.
In China.
And it's just a total commercial for this milk in the middle of this space movie that they're making that makes no fucking sense. Like there was just a lot. I understand that they were riffing on what a lot of these movies do, but it wasn't funny because it's not like because Dag has a line in there, something about ready to cheer on the Chinese Communist Party, and that's what it felt like, and it was just gross.
Yeah.
Speaking of gross, what was that poop thing?
What was that?
Adam wanted Dak's poop.
It's
transplant. Like what?
Yeah,
and then she took a poop in his trailer, and then he's like, "No, you're not supposed to." Like what? Like, and she was just doing what you asked. You never explained what you're supposed. And
so
I was confused on what that was too. So
with the poop thing,
you like?
I think no. With the poop thing. No, I don't like what they did but I would say in that episode, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, that's the same episode where they were doing the China stuff.
Same episode as the China stuff.
So take the China stuff out and maybe try to do the poop thing and try to make that funny. Maybe like that would have been like funnier in some kind of way, right? She takes a dump in his trailer, but then the news gets a hold of it and they're trying to do like PR because I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do the whole poop thing because we just had the big, not super long ago, and probably when they were making the show was the whole like Johnny Depp trial thing where the whole poop in the bed thing happened or whatever that they talked about in trial. So maybe they tried to throw in something like that. Oh, she poops in the trailer and the news is getting a hold of it. And maybe you could have did something a little fun with that. But like that kind of went out of nowhere because the China thing took over. So it like didn't even matter that you did. It was almost like we're going to throw a poop thing in the trailer she poops in the guy's trailer, but then it goes away. There was like nothing said about it the rest of the episode because it changed over to the China thing. And I'm just like, maybe you could have done something funny with that, but then it's like not funny because it was just like her pooping the trailer. The news gets a hold of it, and then it just goes away because the China thing happens because he's like talking about how bad China is, so then he's got to apologize.
Oh, it wasn't her. It wasn't the poop that got leaked. It was something else.
It was the China stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is after Eric had grabbed the mic and went on his tirade about how
she thought
China.
She thought it was about the poop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So yeah, maybe she thought it was like that got out already kind of thing. But like, okay, so maybe that was the her being, confused or whatever. But like I said, I think a lot of the audience is confused. When like I said, it's like you're doing stuff and it ain't that funny. Then you have like the goofy kind of music that you would normally have during a comedy, like in the background, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, it's not funny, so this ain't working. And like I said, they could have did the same kind of thing, been more serious with it, but they could have been like what we talked about not long ago. Could have been more like a dramedy, where it's like drama, but then there's like funny things that happen in it. And it could have been entertaining that way. But I just think because it's supposed to be a comedy and because it's set like a comedy and every scene is almost supposed to be funny. And then like I said, to me, like 90% of it's not funny. So it's like really missing. How many episodes is this thing?
There's 2 more. Okay.
So it's only like a short, like couple of more short episodes. We done made it this far. So I'll like finish it, but hey, I'll tell you what.
It started off strong and sending the middle was going kind of like
it's on a steady declines. Steady decline. I will say that some of this may be coming from the fact that like watching the Penguin and like you see such a great show. You see such a great show. Well, it's going to happen a lot because we're watching all these things together.
2 different genres. But
it's just a good quality show, and then stuff like that, and then like maybe that's why I'm so down on this because that's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to compare the 2 shows. I'm just saying you watch something super great. It doesn't even have to be the Penguin, right? You get through watching something really good, and then you watch something that maybe is just okay. But because you just got through watching something really good, maybe that drags that down to where you think it's not even at an okay level because you're just like, I don't know. But like I said, it's one of those things you're supposed to laugh at. I just don't find myself laughing. And y'all did laugh a couple times, but y'all kind of laugh like once or twice an episode at the most. You know what I'm saying? Like,
like Happy's Place.
Yeah. If I'm getting... Right. If I'm sitting back and I'm not getting the comedy, I kind of judge it on the other people I'm watching it with, right? At that point, because maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not finding it funny and it's kind of on me because it's just maybe not my style of comedy or whatnot. That's fine. So at that point, I kind of take myself out of the equation and I'm kind of jumping on like, okay, so how much like everybody else I'm watching it with is having a good time or laughing. And if you guys were like laughing all the time, I would just come on here and admit like, hey, it's not really for me. I'm not laughing as much, but you guys are having a great time. So obviously there's probably a pretty decent people that's having a good time. But even you guys that are say like enjoying it a little more than me aren't laughing that much. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I'm judging it is I'm getting a feel from you guys too, as far as like how many times y'all maybe comment or laugh out loud when we're watching it. It's not happening very often.
Some of it is not comedy, like when he's going off on like yelling and that's not I don't know, it's not some things not funny to me. Some of it's just sad. It's like, oh well, then he got Christopher Nolan was gonna show up and then so now the director's gonna like, oh, and he's gonna go in there and he's getting hiccups and then he's gonna go mull in his trailer because he wants everything bigger now. But can't compare yourself to Christopher Nolan because Christopher Nolan had like the atomic bomb go off.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
he had a little fireball, and it's a different movie, different thing. So
I will say for what they're asking Daniel Bruhl to do as Eric in the show, I think he's doing a really good job. It's just the show isn't great.
Yeah, so I agree. I don't think anybody particularly like watching the show is bad as far as like actors and anybody in the show like portraying their roles. Like the guy that holds the God mic, I can't remember what his position would be called, but Daniel.
I don't know what his position is, but his name's Daniel.
Right. So like Daniel, I think he's doing good in the show for what he's given.
Mhm.
Like to me, he's the most likable character for me so far. Like I like him the best. But the things with like, it's just what they're given. Obviously, like they have to read a script. They have to go by the script. I will say maybe the only thing that you really could try to even be negative about with the actors is like maybe if you had certain people on the job that are very good, say with like improvising, and maybe if you had like a comedian that's really good at that kind of stuff on the set, maybe they could have made some things funnier, right? Like, but not everybody has that skill. They have to just go off what they're given as far as direction and writing. So I think direction and writing is where this show falls apart. I don't blame the actors because I don't think they're really doing bad. It's just like they're doing things that, like I said, it doesn't fit a pure comedy.
It's satire.
Like they're doing things. Yeah. But it's not like even satires are made most of the time to be funny. I would say you could have like just, I don't know, I've said it a couple times already, just made like a drama. And then you could have had the sad moments. They could have had funny. It's just weird. Like I said, the old guy with the vibrator. You could have made that funny somehow where he like, him and the co-star, the tech-toe guy or whatever. Like, so they've been kind of going at it the whole show so far or whatever. They have disagreements and arguments and stuff like that. And they make fun of being number one and number two and everything else. Maybe somehow like he gets the vibrator and puts it on that guy somehow, like whatever. And then he like uses it to mess him up. Like that could have been a funny thing, right? He's got like the vibrator, not even like stuck in a weird place. It could have just been like on his body somewhere, like attached to him or his suit or something. And it would just make him like mess up or whatever. You could have did something like that to kind of make something funny. And it could have fit the show because those two guys have like animosity between each other. But it's like when you, like I said, it's like you're talking about his wife at home. And I just didn't find that funny. It was like,
well, first of all, in the beginning of the episode, he had the erection that wouldn't go away. And I'm like,
yeah. But like I said, they do things that could be funny, but it's like they don't do the things you need with it to make it funny. It's like that could be funny, right? They're filming something and he's got like an erection he can't get rid of, and because he's wearing like spandex, it's like noticeable. And they're trying to like, man, please, can somebody do something, right? They could have made that a funny thing. Like where it's like getting in the way of them being able to get the shot on the film because he's got like a boner that he can't hide. And like they're trying to make the shots or something, right? Like that could be maybe funny if you do it in a good way, in a funny way. But it was just like he mentions he's got a boner, like Brandi just said, and there's like really nothing about it except he's got a boner. I'm not just gonna laugh because the dude's got a boner. Like it's got to be a little something with it, right? Like you've seen a movie before, like supposed to be high school kids, and the guy has to get up and he's like trying to use his school book to like hide an erection or something like that, right? And it's funny in the moment because he's like embarrassed or something like that, right? And then maybe something happens and he drops the book or something, and then everybody's like, like kind of thing. Could be funny, but like they didn't do anything with it. It's like I said, they bring up things that could be funny. I just don't think they do them very well. Like, I don't even know the writers of this, but I'll tell you what, like if they did another comedy and I knew it was them, I probably wouldn't watch it because they're dropping the ball as far as the comedy part goes.
One of the things that I think they're doing with the writing too is there's so many quips. Like there are in like a Marvel movie. Marvel movies, we all talk about there's sometimes too many quips in a Marvel movie. This show is just quip after quip after quip, and they're not funny.
Right. Yeah. If you're going to do that, they have to be funny. Yeah. There's a couple of them that I smile at here and there. Like I noticed, like the one guy with the eye patch these last two episodes, he thanks his mom for V-Bucks. I kind of smiled because I know that's like for one of the video games.
Fortnite.
Like, yeah, she gave him like Fortnite money or whatever. That was kind of funny, but like it's not enough. It's not enough for me to be like chuckling. It was just like, oh, I get that reference.
It's funny. it's kind of funny, but it's also in the middle of a sad scene where we find out this guy, it's his birthday. Dag ends up wishing him a happy birthday, and he starts crying and walks off. Like it's just there's too many conflicting messages between the acting choices and the words that are being said and the story that's been written into the script. It just doesn't make much sense for it to be a funny comedy. Like I enjoyed the show for what it is, but I'm never gonna watch the show again.
Yeah. I'm gonna say here, I'm not really enjoying it, but it's one of those things where I walked down the road too far and I'm not turning back. So I'm gonna finish it up with you guys. But like if I would have felt this way, and that's kind of disappointing because I didn't feel this way the first few episodes we watched together. I thought there was like funny moments and funny elements to it and stuff. And that kind of just went away for me. And it's gotten less and less and less at each episode that we go down. Maybe the last couple episodes like comes in bangers and it's like super funny. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I stayed because I watched this. But I don't know. We'll see how it ends and stuff like that in the last couple episodes. But yeah, I've gone too far down the road. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not turning back now. But if I would have felt this way, episode 2 and 3, like I'm just one of those people that if I know I'm not going to like something like really bad, like at that point, I would have not wanted to like mess up anybody's fun that they might have been having with the show or whatever. Like I would have called it quits.
One thing I have a complaint and thing about is it could have been good with that background actor and that lady that his assistant
Steph.
Had he not been getting married, and then she just said in the last episode that she was married. I'm like, I was really rooting for them at first because when she started in the beginning of the episode in the series, like kind of like flirting with him, and I thought that was cute, and I was like, this could be good. And then episode 4 was he was getting married, so he was didn't want to shave his head before his wedding, and I was like, that kind of ruined it. And then this one, like, they kissed each other, like, and I was like, now I don't want to root for them. So like,
it's
I was rooting for them, but now I don't want to.
It's just kind of weird how they do things sometimes. Because to me, that's just bad, right? Like we can all admit that that's just a bad thing. Like that, it's not funny. It's like, oh my god, it makes like he walks by and she does like the either pinch of the butt or the almost pinch of the butt or whatever. But if that was a guy doing that same thing, like to a girl that like he liked on set, like that would be seen as something horrible.
Sexual harassment.
Yeah, exactly. But like she's doing it and we're supposed to laugh at it. Like that's some of the weird stuff I don't get sometimes. They try to throw in these things. It's like, what are we talking about here? He's about to be married, doesn't want to get married. She's married, and like
it didn't
she's
say
a bad person.
It didn't say he didn't want to get married. He just
no. I'm saying that he's getting married
without hair.
Yeah. No, I mean he's getting married and she's already married, and it's just like, bro, like that's not funny. Like no matter who it is, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Switch swap, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's kind of thing. And if you're doing if it's wrong to do the whole pinch of the butt thing when people walk by that you may or may not know that would like that happening, that's what it is. It's like, bro, you did the exact same thing and it's not good. It's not funny. It's like, I don't get what you're saying, like in what you're doing. Now, if you're doing it over the top and you're making some kind of like point that it is bad, but it's like a funny situation, but then you like point it out that like, in some kind of way that it's bad or something like that, then maybe you can make it funny and make it work that way. But it's like, okay, like that dude's trying to get married. Like, I get that maybe you got an attraction to him. She's even admitting it's not even like a real attraction. Like in the scene too, she's like talking about how she knows it's like this thing, like a worry thing that when she gets worried or something like that, like
stress,
like love or something. It's like, if you're admitting that to yourself and he's trying to get married, what are you even doing at that point? Like, go find some other random person that might like your attraction or something back or something like that. It's at least not getting married or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, so it ruined that thing because I could have rooted for them, and I was like, at first I thought, it's cute, but then we find out in episode 4 he's getting married, and then we just find out in episode 6 that she's married.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they wanted to do a set romance in this show, it would have brought an element to it that might have actually been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but the way that they went about the like stuff with the two of them, it's just not.
Yeah, so a
it's not.
perfect example of that would be The Office. I love that show. And then you had like it's one of the biggest love stories that a lot of people like, Pam and Jim. Like they're in a comedy, but like their stuff was like yeah, they would throw jokes or do things together, like picking on Dwight or something like that together that would be funny, but like their love story was real the whole time. And they had it in the middle of this comedy, but it didn't take you out of it. It made it more enjoyable and stuff like that. And you could do something like that, but it's like I said, like it's not a good setup, and then you make it kind of weird because now you're just saying like, well, I mean, like for instance, me and Brandy's getting married in a year. We're obviously not going to find that funny, like trying to break up somebody that's trying to get married and stuff. Like we're just going to be like, what are you doing here? You're a trash person.
Yep.
So
I think this show is missing heart.
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
it's got a lot of attempts at humor and it's got a lot of weird shit. And I'm sure the sets are very weird places, especially on these superhero movies where you're pretending to fly and do all these other things. But the show has no heart to it. Like, I can't root for any of these characters. Like, they're
the
just
only one I can is
the only one I like is Dak.
I like the guy that I just talked about, and I keep forgetting his name as far as his name in the story, but the guy who's always on the microphone that Daniel. Like I like him. Like
he's probably my favorite character,
but I felt bad for his character in this one because he makes like a good decision, everybody's happy, you know what I'm saying, and then like he doesn't even get none of the credit for it, you know what I'm talking about. So like it's kind of sad for him. Maybe something happens in these next 2 episodes that makes it kind of cool, but like he's the one I'm rooting for. All the rest of them are like, I would root for even like goofy characters if they're doing dumb stuff, if it's funny. I guess my second like favorite character in here would be the guy who's like, I guess like the villain in the story, because he's like, doing the thing with the fire, and old Teto's like, no, don't do it, like that older guy. But then I like felt bad. Yeah, but I felt bad for him in this episode because of the whole thing, man. Like to me, you like I said, you could have did something funny with the vibrator thing, but him trying to keep, do something for like with his wife and stuff like that at an old age and all that good stuff is like that's like commendable, right? Like he's trying to, be a good person, even though he can't do anything and he's old and tired and all this stuff. And like that's real things that happen to people, right? Like when they get older in age and stuff like that. And so to me, it just wasn't funny. Like the interaction between him and the lady, I can't remember none of these names. I'm super bad at that, even on shows I love. But like the lady who's talking to Christopher Nolan in this episode, his interactions about the Bluetooth, that was a little funny. But like I said, but it kind of ruins it because like it's intertwined in this other stuff. But like I said, if he was doing something goofy and funny with that and she was helping him, that would have been like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But it's like every time I think something's going to happen, like you pull out the crapping in the trailer. Could be funny, potential. I'm like, okay, cool, like whatever. And it's like you really don't do something too that funny with it. I almost laughed. I would say like one of the things I found kind of funny was Home Dude talking about eating the Subway turd sandwich. And like there was going to be gold at the end of the thing. I thought that was almost funny, but it wasn't even quite there for me. But it was like I kind of half smiled at that. And when you're talking about those interactions, and like I'm saying right now, where I'm talking about it being a half smile or whatever, like that's just bad for a comedy.
Yeah.
Like we should be sitting here asking, like one of the questions I try to do when we do the post credit, sometimes it was like, what's your favorite scene and what's your least favorite scene? But like after we watch what we watched, it's like really hard to come in here and go like, well, what do you think was the funniest? Because I didn't hear anybody laughing really loud at anything. Like I said, I did hear you two girls giggle once or twice, at a couple of things, but like it wasn't no belly laughter going on. Like, and I didn't really laugh.
Funny. He wanted to perform for the crew. He thought that would be. He thought that would be perfect for, let's get a gift instead of a cupcake truck. Man, I would take the cupcake truck. We all would.
Should have gone with the cupcake truck. Yeah.
Right.
And then I thought it was funny to like take it away, and then we're like, oh shit, he found another one. Like,
it's
I
like
thought that was funny. He found another.
I don't know. Maybe in their head they're thinking things like, the big producer guy that shows up every now and then, like him winning the pot, for instance, that they were trying to do for the crew.
That made me laugh too.
Like, I'm saying maybe they thought it was funny, but I didn't think it was funny. I was just like they could have made that funny to me if there would have been like, say he does something crazy or whatever after he wins and like what have you. But it's like, to me, it wasn't all that funny because I'm just thinking about like all the people that was supposed to go to, and it doesn't. He just wins. It's like, I mean, okay, like but I understand. Like, it's one of those things on paper that might be funny. Oh, we're gonna let the big producer guy that's rich, that doesn't care, that hasn't been here working hard the whole time, like win it. Oh, doesn't that sound funny? And I could get why you think it does, but then when you shoot it, it's like, man, it's missing something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was like the director, I shot that scene, I'd have been like, man, I don't know. It's kind of like we're dumping on the workers. We need to do something with it. Yeah.
That's what I felt. Crickets when that, and everybody else was like, they were all pissed.
Yeah.
It was something to try to get the crew like worked up about, oh yeah, this fun thing we're gonna do as we're doing this night shoot that you all don't want to be at, and then the person wins it that's in charge.
They didn't even want to do it. They just did it because whatever, I'll throw in some money to be able to win the pot. But like they just did they did it just because of the fact, I guess there's a chance of money to win. But they wasn't happy when he like announces to them they're gonna do the pot thing, like for people to throw in and possibly win some money. They were like cussing at him, like, man, fuck you. Like, we don't. It's like whatever. Like, that was actually kind of fun. There was a couple of moments I heard background, like people that aren't even probably on the shot. You know what I'm saying? They're just off camera. Whenever they would try to do something to make somebody happy, and you would hear like the random like, fuck off. That almost made me laugh because I'm like, I'd probably be one of those guys. Like, screw you, son. We're all trying to do this, and this guy's like so much of a chicken. He's in his room, like doing that. It's like the thing he kept putting in his mouth that lit up. Like, that's not funny to me because I don't know what the F that is. What is that thing? I don't.
He was whitening his teeth.
Okay, like I figured
that was,
but because I didn't notice it right off the bat, that makes it not funny, right? Because like you don't even know what the hell that thing is. It's like, okay, like it is what it is. But I guess we'll go around. We've been doing this thing for almost 40 minutes, but we'll do last words and maybe scores if you want to give one on this last couple of episodes that we just did. Start off with you, Adelia.
I just didn't really enjoy these 3 episodes at all. Big down step from the first 3 episodes to me. I thought the first 3 episodes were pretty funny. Maybe it lands, maybe it doesn't, but I don't think this is going to be something I'm ever going to revisit again. I'd give these 3 episodes maybe like a combined 4. Like, I really don't like them.
Got you. Brandi.
Yeah, these last couple of episodes were not my favorite either. 4 was better than 5 and 6. I mean, 6 was a little better than 5, but 5 was the worst one. I mean, I'm gonna go probably a 5. Like, it's mid, it's not anything special. So yeah, 4 or 5. I probably won't rewatch things. I'll only rewatch it if we have to like know, so I can get to know what I missed or what I didn't pick up the first time when we do these.
Yeah, y'all bring in the rewatch thing in here, and like I said last night, I'm going to rewatch The Penguin. Like, I'm going to do it. That's how good of a show that was, and I don't say that a lot. So it's kind of funny that like we're doing this review, post credits for this show, and y'all are both admitting I ain't coming back, right? Like, the only way I come back to this show is if we watch one of the next couple, because even though I did enjoy more the first 3 episodes, it wasn't like bangers for me. They were just like, okay, like I'm a little above a 5, right? I'm like liking it. I'm not a lukewarm. I'm not disliking it. I'm liking it. I'm on the like side, like, you know, a 5.5 or a 6. And then we get into these episodes and they get even worse. And I'm like, oh shit. Now, if one of the next 2 episodes has me rolling on the floor laughing, I might revisit it because, like, oh shit, that one episode was like super ass funny. So I'm going to come back just for that one episode. I'm not going to come back and watch the whole season, but I'm going to come back for that one moment or that one episode. So we'll see what happens in the next 2 that they have left. But I just think this would have been done better if it was a drama with some comedy moments in it, right? Like, where like there may be a joke here and there, you know, but it'd be more on the serious side. And because you could still do some of these outlandish things, like in a little more of a serious way, and that would have fit the tone of like the sad moments that were happening and stuff. And if you would have built characters up good enough, those sad moments would have meant even more, kind of thing, and could have like really, you know, just hit you a little bit. And it's tough. It's tough. Comedy's tough, especially in this day and age. People are like super afraid of like saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing that's gonna whatever and make people mad. So like, it's tough out there. Like, I kudos for trying. I just don't think it's hitting. I think they do have opportunities and did have things that they could have made funny and enjoyable. They just didn't hit those marks. But hey, man, like I think people did actually try on this. I've seen some things. I don't know if people even tried, and I do think some people tried. But this is unfortunately one. You can't be 100%. You can't hit home runs every time. Max hits a lot of home runs, but sometimes they strike out, or sometimes they only get a single. And this is one of those shows to me that's the single. It's not necessarily a strikeout, like where it's super horrible, but because it's on that line to where they should have just at one point maybe made a decision, bro, okay, this ain't working. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to see what we are, and we're going to go super bad on purpose and try to do that. We're so bad it's funny. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that could have worked at some point. But it's almost like people's like, well, we're going to be funny, but we also want to show some acting chops, right? Like, because there are moments in here I'm like, damn, that was pretty good by the actor. But the problem is I'm supposed to be laughing. Like, that's the thing. I give it this show like probably a C- or a D+ right now, 3.5, 4. I'll just say 4 to be a little nicer. And let's just see what happens at the end and all that kind of good stuff with it. But guys, we made it this far.
I do have to say, I love Billy Magnuson, and he did show his soap opera chops when he did that dramatic scene with the, because he came from the soap opera.
Right. Well, anybody that comes from the soap opera, Brandy's gonna love. She's a soap opera expert. But yeah, guys. With that being said, if you would like to, I'm going to try to be creative here, but I don't even know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if I said it right this whole entire time. But if you want to get a sip of coffee with us, join the coffee account and be able to join us when we do watch-alongs and stuff like that, and be able to possibly be on here with us talking about these different shows that we watch together. It does make it more enjoyable because we're watching it as a group. If I was trying to watch this show on my own, my ass would have been gone. Like, I'm hanging in there really because like we're watching it as a group, and sometimes, you know, we can interact off of each other and talk and make comments, and it makes it more enjoyable. Same thing. I used to watch wrestling back in the day, but I stopped watching, and then I was with my roommate for a couple years, and we watched wrestling not because it was good, but because we laughed off each other's jokes we made about the stupid shit that was happening. Yeah. So it made it enjoyable. We would watch every week because we had fun, because we were laughing at ourselves and not the actual screen or the TV. So that's one of those things you can have whenever you're watching things together. It just makes it feel a little better. So join that coffee, if you will. Like and subscribe, obviously. If you're watching the show, make comments in the bottom of the screen. Let us know like how much you actually liked the show. If you hate the show, like the show, whatever. But with that being said, till next time, till the next post credits. Peace out. Give it to him, Brandi. Yeah.